Hi, this is Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. I am in the middle of making a junk journal, so I thought I would show you where I am and then do a mini tutorial showing you one of the techniques I'm using for this. I'm using Calico Collage Sweet Elegance Journal Kit, and I will link Calico Collage's shop below. Please check that out. She has some amazing coupons as well. But this journal is going to be 4 signatures. I'm not going to do a flip through yet. I'll do that when it's totally completed. But one of the techniques that I'm using in this is taking my distress inks, and these are the colors I'm going to be using right now: milled lavender, Victorian velvet, bundled sage, and brushed corduroy for this part. And I'm using coloring book pages. I found this coloring book. Oh, let me grab it. Okay. I found this coloring book, Positively Zen, at TJ Maxx. It was $5.99. And this is a really good size. For example, here's a let me just lift this up a little bit so you can see. Okay, here's a normal notebook. That's the size difference. It's a little bigger. Okay, set this back on the stand. Okay, so it's pretty big, and there is a lot in here. And if you think about this not as just a coloring book, but as like a paper pad that has endless possibilities. The paper, it's not super thick, but it's this beautiful bright white that is beautiful for coloring, for watercolors, whatever. So I'm using this kind of as a paper pad instead of a coloring book. And I would really suggest that you check like TJ Maxx and places like that for coloring books, because this retails for $9 and it was $5.99. And here, let me show you one that, now of course I got to find what signature. So you're getting a little sneak peek flip through here because I'm trying to find what signature I put it in. None of this is decorated yet. It's just the pages that I'm working at putting together. But in one of these, I have one. Of course, it's going to be the last one. Okay. Here. I just cut down one of the coloring pages. And the nice thing about them is they're double-sided. I cut down one of the coloring pages to fit in the journal. And then I used my distress ink to just very roughly watercolor some of it. I'm not a painter, and I really went for the messy look. But I just love the little bit of color it gives to it. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. It's great for adding pages to your junk journal. But, you know, I always like to say think outside of the box, because you don't have to just do this for junk journaling. You can use it for scrapbooking. You can use it for you know, making other things. If you're into Happy Mail, it's great for flip books and pocket letters, and it just gives you a whole nother level. So this is the one I'm working on right now, and I'm just going to show you how I do it. Of course, I have like watercolors. Like, I mean, I have watercolors, and they would work just fine. But the reason why I'm using the distress inks is because I don't know if you noticed in the flip through, I distressed a lot of these pages. Sorry, my camera is not focusing. Let's see if I can get it to. There we go. Okay. I distressed a lot of the pages to coordinate. And so I'm using some of those same colors. And that way my palette stays the same. If I were to pull out this, I could find similar colors and it would work fine, but it wouldn't be exact. And I mean, who doesn't love spraying water on distress ink and watching it react? Okay, so that's the back. It's front. I'm going to fold it for a little mini page in the middle of one of the signatures. Okay, so let's start with the bundled sage. I'm going to finish the leaves. So I have, this is just an acrylic block. This is the Stamp Abilities brand from Hobby Lobby. And you could use a craft mat or probably a plastic plate, something like that. But I find this to be a good size and really helpful. I also like how it's long, and you're going to see me do a few colors on here. There's enough room that they don't mix. So I'm just going to smush a little bit right there. I have one of these mini misters from Ranger, but you can use any spray bottle. I just give it a little bit of a spray, and I have a paintbrush here. I don't even know what brand this is. It was my grandmother's. She gave me, she was an artist. She is an artist, and gave me a lot of her old brushes, and it's worn off. I don't know what it is, but you could use, you know, whatever brush you have. So then I just use it as watercolors. And I don't see how I'm way outside of the lines here. I'm not even trying to stay in the lines. I'm just trying to give a little bit of color. So absolutely anybody can do this. Like I said, I am not a painter. I don't have amazing techniques to share with you. I'm just showing you what I do. So, okay, that did the green. Now with these pine cones, I was using the brushed corduroy. So since this is long, try to stay in frame here. I have bundled sage up here. So I'm just gonna go to the middle, add a little bit of brushed corduroy, a little bit of a spray. Also, my tip and trick is a baby wipe, just to wipe off some of the color so I don't get too muddy. And then I just go in and add a little brown. Like I said, I'm not trying to stay in the lines. I'm just giving some color. Okay. Now the flowers. I think I was using both the milled lavender and the Victorian velvet. One thing I noticed about the milled lavender, and if you work with distress inks, then I'm sure that you're aware of it. It's so light you can barely see it. Whoops, now I'm spraying my paper. Fun. Okay. So I should get that brushed corduroy off. Okay. So I think I just kind of first went quickly over with the milled lavender, and then I came in with the Victorian velvet. And I didn't do all of it, just added pretty much some highlighting. And that's all I'm going to do for that flower. So this one over here, I'm going to go in again. I'm going to wipe up all my colors here because I'm done with the brown and green. That's the nice thing about these acrylic blocks. See, now it's totally clean. All right, so I'm going to go back with my milled lavender, and I know I'm going to need quite a bit, so I'm going to take half of it up here. Spray it. And pretty much I'm just doing a whole coat. And I'm okay with getting this paper kind of wet because my whole journal is, I mean, it's going to dry and it's a little bit vintage. So if you look at my pages that I distressed, they're all wrinkled and some of them are a little bit torn and stuff. So I'm not going for perfection. Okay. So I'm just doing kind of like a base coat in the milled lavender. And then I'm going to come in with the Victorian velvet to highlight a few of the leaves. Again, I chose this color palette because that was what I used in my distress. I'm not speeding this up at all. This is actually how fast I'm doing it. Okay, that's done. That's all I'm going to do. And then I will probably, let me go ahead and distress this edge, show you what I'm going to do here. All right, so I grabbed my blending tool and I'll take the brushed corduroy. I got petal. Okay. And I'm just going to add a little bit to the edges here on both sides. On the torn edge. I'm going to leave the edge torn because I like the character. Okay, so now let's look at this other side. I don't even know what it's supposed to be. It's some kind of a leaf thing. I don't really know. So pretty much I'm going to go in with 2 colors of green. I have bundled sage. I'm going to grab one more color. All right, I grabbed Lucky Clover. So I'm going to start with the bundled sage. And like I did with the milled lavender, I'm going to kind of just, I'm not going to do a total base coat, but I'm going to do a lot of this bundled sage. I try to kind of go with the lines on here, but like I'm not an artist, and I'm sure that many of you have worked with paints a lot more than I have, and you can definitely do better. But what I'm trying to show you is even someone who's not a painter can get cool effects. And it does not have to be perfect. And what I'm trying to do is embrace the imperfect here. Okay? Not even going for it. All right. So the Lucky Clover is a really dark green, so all I'm going to do is add a few little highlights. I'm not going to add too much because I don't want this to look too Christmassy or anything. With this, I don't even know what I'm going to do till I do it. I just kind of turn my brain off and do it. So, here we go. Son's talking in the background. All right. Love it. Okay. Almost done. And then I just kind of look and see if there's any places that need a little more dimension. If you know a lot more about shading than I do, yours is going to come out, you know, probably much better than mine, but I'm happy with mine. Crafting is for everyone, not just the super, super talented, because I am not super talented. I'm just persistent. Okay, so, and that's how I'm going to leave that one. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to add it in the middle of, I believe it's the signature. Right there. Nope, that's not how I'm going to do it. Ah! There we go. And that's how it's going to look in there. So I hope that gave you an idea of using coloring books. If you guys want to see some more photos, or not photos, videos of what I use coloring books for, I have a lot of coloring books because I went through a phase before I really started crafting where I was coloring, and I have a whole bag full of them. And I've tried a lot of different techniques, and so I thought that a lot of you might enjoy that. Coloring books, you can even find them like at Dollar Tree and stuff like that. So think about that. You're getting a whole pad of paper for $1. Pretty cool. And you don't have to use distress inks. I know they're very expensive. So I'm going to try to do some videos using like cheap watercolors and other techniques of things that are a lot cheaper than the distress. So I hope that gave you an inspiration, and please look out for my final flip through on this. You'll see it with the cover and all the embellishments and all that. And I might even do a few more process videos before then. Who knows? Have a wonderful crafty day.